Welcome everyone. My name's Kieran, and today we're going to be talking about evaluating arguments and how to trace claims, reasons, and evidence in a text. This is a companion piece to another video that I did very recently, which was Write Arguments Like a Pro, How to Use Valid Reasoning and Strong Evidence. So if you haven't already, have a look at that video. You should see a link on the screen now as well. Okay, so when we hear the word argument, many people think of a disagreement or a fight or something like that. But in academic writing, an argument means something quite different. So it's about how a writer tries to convince the reader of a particular idea or opinion. So throughout this session, we'll look at how writers build those arguments and how we can critically evaluate them. So what exactly is an argument in a piece of writing? So an argument in this context isn't about, shouting or winning a debate. It is about persuasion through logic and evidence. When an author makes an argument, they present a main idea, which we call a claim, and then they support that claim with reasons and evidence. So your job as a reader is to identify what the author's main idea is and how they're trying to convince you to accept it. So think of this as you are following the reasoning trail. Okay. So every argument has three essential parts: the claims, the reasons, and the evidence. So let's break these down a little bit before we kind of build on this topic. So the claim is the author's main point, the opinion or conclusion they want you to believe. The reasons explain why the author believes their claim is true or valid. And finally, the evidence is the proof that supports those reasons. So this could be facts, statistics, examples, or even expert opinions. If one of these parts is missing, the argument becomes weaker. So recognizing all three helps us judge how convincing it really is. So, a claim is the foundation of any argument. It's a statement that the author believes is true and wants to persuade you to accept. So usually, a claim is a strong opinion or a statement of belief, not a simple fact. Now, when you're reading, ask yourself, what is the author trying to convince me of? Or what do they want me to believe? Remember, a claim might be true or false, but the author's goal is to make it sound convincing. So your role as a reader is to identify that claim and then test how well it's supported. So let's talk about reasons and evidence now. These are what make a claim believable. So the reasons are the explanations that tell us why the author believes their claim is true. They connect the dots between the claim and the proof. So the evidence is that proof. It includes facts, examples, statistics, expert opinions, or even short stories, which are anecdotes. Without strong reasons and reliable evidence, a claim is just an opinion. It's like saying something without backing it up. So as readers, we need to look at whether the reasons actually make sense and whether the evidence really supports them. Once we understand what claims, reasons, and evidence are, the next step is tracing an argument. This means following how the author builds their case. So start by finding the claim. What is the main point or message the author is trying to make? It's often found in the introduction or topic sentences. Next, identify the reasons. Look for explanations that support the main idea. Now, the clue words that you're looking for here are things like because, since, therefore, and these are the best ways that you can spot them. Now, finally, you need to locate the evidence. So what facts, examples, data does the author use to prove each of their reasons? So again, look out for words like, for example, according to, or studies show, ... Tracing the argument step by step then helps you see how well the author's logic holds together. So after tracing the argument, we need to evaluate it. This is where we think critically about whether it is convincing. So ask yourself, are the reasons logical? Do they make sense? Is the evidence reliable? Is it from a credible, trustworthy source? And is there enough evidence to fully support the claim, or is it too thin? Also check if the evidence actually proves what the author says it does. I mean, sometimes it doesn't. Remember, we don't just accept an author's ideas automatically. Evaluating arguments helps us become more critical and independent thinkers. And if you haven't already, also have a look at our critical analysis skills workshop as well. So I'll put a link here as well. So let's compare a strong claim with an unsupported claim. Okay, so a supported claim is backed by a clear, logical reason and credible, relevant evidence. It is solid, kind of like a sturdy wall. An unsupported claim, on the other hand, could have some weak reasoning, no evidence at all, or the evidence doesn't really seem to fit that claim. It's unstable, like a house of cards, etc. Okay. So our task as readers is to recognize the difference. So we should be able to say, yes, this argument stands up to scrutiny, or no, this one falls apart because it lacks any kind of evidence or support. So let's wrap up then with some key points. An argument always has three parts: a claim, reasons, and evidence. To trace an argument, identify each of these in the text. Find the claim first, then the reasons, and then finally look for the evidence. Once you've done that, evaluate the argument. Ask whether the reasons are logical, whether the evidence is reliable and sufficient, and whether it actually supports the claim. Finally, remember the difference between supported and unsupported claims. The more you practice tracing and evaluating arguments, the more confident and critical you'll become as a reader. That's what strong academic reading is all about. Okay, so I hope this short workshop was useful for you. And if you did find it useful, press like, etc., and subscribe. But yeah, have a look at our other videos as well on research skills and reading skills, etc. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon. So thank you very much for viewing, and I'll see you later.